What's up, motherfuckers? It's time to bust out some lines, drink some Jack Daniels, because we're talking about the dirt. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, I gotta tell you, many years ago, I'm gonna say 2002, 2003, I read a fucking book. It was an incredible book. It was a masterpiece. It was the autobiography of Mötley Crüe, called The Dirt, as told by everybody involved. If you've read The Dirt, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, everybody involved with that band gets to write their own chapters on what they remember, how things happened. It's really like a fucking genius book. And it was a book that I've gone through at least 3 or 4 copies of, because every time I have a copy, I give it to somebody to read and I never get it back. It's one of my favorite it's definitely probably my favorite autobiography, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. It's a fucking masterpiece, and it tells a story about one of the most dangerous and important bands in rock and roll. So for years, they've been talking about adapting it into a movie. And I was always like, how the fuck are they gonna do that? Because there's so much in that book. I mean, my God, how do you tell a story of like fucking debauchery and insanity and rock and roll on that level? I mean, how do you do it? So Netflix, after all these years, put the money up. They hired Jeff Tremaine, who from Jackass fame, to be at the helm of this. And they fucking did it, man. I just watched it. It was put on Netflix like this morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. specifically to watch this movie. I've been super hyped up to see if they can pull this off. Well, in my opinion, they did. I have to actually watch it again because I was surprised at how well they pulled it off. Now, look, is it like a fantastic piece of filmmaking? I mean, no. You know, is it the story from the book? Kinda. Like, it's like the Cliff Notes version of the book. And it only really sort of tells like the first 2/3 of the book, actually. It sort of leaves off like the whole Tommy and Pam thing. Like it ends before we get that far. It really just sort of picks up when they get back together again. I'm cutting ahead here. What was great about it? They didn't pull any punches. They didn't sugarcoat anything. The first 5 minutes of this film sets up exactly the tone for the rest of this movie. I mean, really, there's a lot of this book, especially now in this current day and age, where it's kind of taboo to talk about, you know? But the way they handled it was perfect, and they didn't sugarcoat it, man. And I respect the hell out of them for doing that, because I was hoping that they wouldn't crap out, because it's a story that deserves to be told. You know, Mötley Crüe, one of the most arguably important bands in rock and roll. Are they all fucking great people? Absolutely not. Definitely not good people. I mean, but there's something about them that you have to just love, you know? Like, what they pulled off and how they did it on their own terms, I mean, that's something to be respected, you know? Was it debaucherous and insane? Fuck yeah, it was. But they really didn't sugarcoat anything. I mean, they get into, you know, the violence with Tommy. We all know Tommy Lee had a history of violence with women. I mean, not a history necessarily, but there was, if you read in the book, you can see he openly admits to assaulting 2 women. One of them being Pamela. She's not in the movie at all. I'm sure there was some sort of weird thing where she didn't want to be in it or what. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But they get into the first violent moment, and they didn't shy away from it, you know. And I appreciate that the filmmakers took that risk and did it. And there's a lot of a lot of sex, a lot of drug use and alcohol abuse and general mayhem, and they get into the Ozzy tour, the infamous Ozzy tour with the ants and the pee. They get into that. And the guy that plays Ozzy, I've seen him and stuff. I think he's like a Nickelodeon actor or something. He's fucking great. He really is. He nails Ozzy. He nails him. Machine Gun Kelly, he's fucking excellent as Tommy Lee. He really is. Like, I was like, is this guy gonna pull it off? And guess what? He totally nails it. He's excellent. The people they cast to play Mötley Crüe were great. They fucking nailed the essence of these fucking lunatics. I have to say, I really strongly suggest this film. I think for what it tried to accomplish with the material, they pulled it off. You know, they definitely pulled it off, and you got to give it up to Netflix for taking the risk and rolling the dice on a project like this. I know it's been in limbo for fucking over a decade. I know at one point, like, Gene Simmons was connected to producing a film version of this. I don't know. I'm just glad it was made. I'm really glad it was made. I'm happy to have woken up this morning to be able to watch it, and I enjoyed the fucking hell out of it. You know, the first half of it is supremely entertaining and fun. It's just a rock and roll ride, you know. And then we get into the second part where everything starts hitting the fan for them. We talk, you know, they get into Vince Neil killing Razzle in that car accident, that drunk driving accident. They get into that. They get into the death of Vince Neil's daughter really hard. I gotta warn you for that. Be prepared. Later in this film, it gets pretty real, which I also appreciated too. They didn't just glorify the story. They didn't condone any of the things that happened. They just tell the story, sort of. You know, I mean, they take liberties and they combine certain stories to kind of pack as much into this as possible. I mean, if you read the book, there's just so much in it. It would be impossible to pull that off as a 2-hour film. So this is like a condensed version of the book. And if you haven't read the book, watch the movie first, I would say, and then read the book for more of the story. You will not be disappointed either way. Yeah, fucking A, The Dirt. They fucking made it, and I loved it. I'm gonna watch it again. I mean, I'm not gonna watch it again right now. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. But watch The Dirt. It's on Netflix. They did it. They pulled it off. I enjoyed the shit out of it. Anyway, I'm Terry Taylor. I'll see you when I see you. Maybe sooner, maybe later. Bye-bye.